10 awesome gaming PC tips and tricks for your gaming PC. When it comes to PC gaming, higher frame rates and better user experience are essential. Even the best games can suffer if their gorgeously drawn virtual worlds bog down. However, regardless of your PC gaming setup on Windows, various changes can assure a smooth, frustration-free journey, as well as that a bit of extra responsiveness you require to succeed. Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about the 10 awesome PC gaming tips and tricks for your gaming PC. Number 10. Update your graphics drivers. You won't want to go into combat, race around the track, or rocket into space without the most recent NVIDIA or AMD graphics drivers installed in your GPU. It's one of the most crucial pre-game inspections you can make, and it's also simple. You may check if your machine already has an NVIDIA or an AMD Opto Update tool by searching for it in the taskbar. If not, you can download programs from NVIDIA and AMD to examine your system's hardware and download the appropriate drivers from the internet. You can also manually search NVIDIA or AMD websites for these drivers. If you're not sure what kind of graphics card you have, then use the taskbar to look for Device Manager and run the first program that opens. To see your GPU, open the Display Adapters list. You may also right-click on the entry and select Update Driver from here if you want. The communication between your graphics driver and the software in your system is handled by drivers including installed games. Your communication will be faster and smoother if your drivers are newer and more up-to-date. That goes for the OS-level software updates as well. Check Update and Security in Windows settings to see whether they are pending. 9. Check in-game options. Every game has its unique set of options. As tempting it may be to leap right into the action, it's worth taking the time to learn them. These tweaks can make a tremendous difference, and it's worth sacrificing a few pixels in the long run if it means the pixels on the screen flow more smoothly. We can't offer you instructions for every game out there, but these options should be easy to find. They're frequently displayed on the game's initial splash screen. Choose the settings and then graphics and then advanced settings in Grand Theft Auto 5 for PC to customize the screen resolution, maximum refresh rate, shadow quality, and how far into the distance the game renders landscapes, all of which will affect how fast or slow the game runs. Number 8 is to check for pre-installed software. Suppose you bought a pre-built gaming PC or laptop from a reputable gaming brand like Razer, Alienware, Gigabyte, or others. In that case, it might have come with a utility or two to help you get the most out of your gaming experience. We can't tell you about every software choice for every game brand, but you should be able to detect any apparent options if you go through the installed apps on the start menu. Gigabyte gaming laptops, for example, include ROS Control Setter, which displays the current GPU, CPU, and memory load. If you want to squeeze out some more performance from your system, you can also increase the processor and graphics card speed in exchange for more significant power drain and a louder fan buzzing. If you can't find more but believe one should exist, it's always worth contacting the maker directly, which usually means reading through the relevant support forums on the web. If the utility wasn't installed when the computer was built, or if you unintentionally removed it without recognizing what it was, you might need to download it manually. Number 7. Finding your own optimization software. There are plenty of options available, so you don't have to go through the optimization software that came with your PC, if one was included. You don't need a Razer machine to use a Razer Cortex, which is free and one of the best. It'll dynamically allocate your system resources to your games when they are needed. Limit non-gaming apps and squeeze the most frame rate out of your hardware setup feasible. Another option is the Game Fire, which offers a similar set of changes and improvements, such as shutting down redundant background processes and ensuring your system uses RAM efficiently, and keeping an eye on any internet connection slowdowns. It costs $18, but there's a free edition with the most basic features, so you can check if you like it, and if it makes a difference first. Number 6 is to free up disk space. As you explore the virtual worlds that games build, they manage a lot of data, thus the more free disk space you can give them, the better. If your system storage space is limited, you may have observed that games are struggling and slowing down as a result. Making sure your hard disk has lots of empty space is a tedious but efficient approach to improve your chances of a flawless gaming session. Remove no longer used games, applications, and files to enjoy the benefits. You can back up files to the cloud if necessary and remove programs via the apps area of the Windows settings. Number 5 is to overclock your computer. Overclocking, or pushing your system components past manufacturer-approved limits, was formerly the sole realm of gamers, but now it's open to everybody. The software programs are easier to use than ever before, yet we recommend conducting some preliminary research on the subject to better understand it. It's also worth noting that overclocking is done entirely at your own risk, and will almost definitely break your hardware warranties. Overclocked components will result in speedier gameplay, but you'll need a CPU and GPU that were explicitly designed for overclocking. Many are now, but it's still a good idea to double check your system specs. If you buy a pre-built gaming system that is designed to be overclocked, it may be coming with software that helps you do it. It's not an exact science, but you simply need to increase the speed of your CPU and GPU until you detect issues or crashes, then reduce the speed to a safe level. To discover what's possible in your system, try apps like Intel Extreme Tuning Utility, AMD Ryzen Master, MSI Afterburner, and Asus GPU Tweak.
Number 4
is to rely on plug-in power. When you're away from your power outlet, Windows tends to turn down the performance settings to save battery life. So you should always be gaming while plugged in if it's all possible. Of course, this only pertains to laptop gaming. Open the Windows setting dialog, then go to System, Power and Sleep, Additional Power Settings, Change Plan and Settings, change Advanced Power Settings to verify this and other battery and power setup parameters, and override them if necessary. Finally, you'll see a dialog box where you can change how the system processor and graphics operate on battery power.
Number 3
This is shut down background processes. If you're playing games, you'll want as little as possible running in the background, sapping CPU, GPU, and RAM resources, as well as internet traffic. Close non-essential, non-gaming programs from the taskbar by right-clicking them and selecting Close Window from the menu that appears. You should see a message asking if you want to save any open and unsaved files. Many Windows apps like to run in the background in case you need them. You can typically find them in the notification area or tray or system tray in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. To see what processes are running in the background, right-click on the blank space on the taskbar and select Task Manager, then Processes. If the Processes tab is invisible, click More Details, select anything on the list that you aren't currently using and choose End Task to turn it off. Run a fast web search on the process if you're not sure what it is. Some of them may be required for your games and the Windows itself, and some trial and error may be necessary here.
Number 2
is to turn off notifications. Receiving an email notice halfway through a challenging capture of the flag game may not make a significant difference in terms of performance. Still, it will most certainly disrupt your attention. For you or your team, it could make the difference between a win and a defeat. Manage notifications in Windows settings under System and Notifications and Actions. Select System and then Focus Assist in establishing specific times when notifications aren't active. You may also silence notifications using the built-in Xbox Game Bar program in Windows, which you can access by pressing Win+G.
Number 1
To ask the experts. Once you settle on your build, post the entire list of components you'll be using on a tech forum filled in by seasoned PC builders, or preferably a few forums. Many people skip this step because it takes time to sign up for these message boards if you haven't previously, but it's definitely worth the effort to do so immediately before you acquire all that stuff. You almost always get a fascinating input, as well as some suggestions for improvements or various settings that could work for better, or simply things that you might have overlooked. This tip could come in handy before you open your wallet, and it could save you a lot of money. Remember that PCPPartPicker.com can assist you in assembling, describing, and sharing your build, as well as flagging any compatibility issues. Do you have any other tips for your fellow gamers? Let us know in the comments section down below. So, without further ado, I bid you guys adieu. Goodbye.